before, reading my lips. That's very good talent. A lot of people couldn't hear me, so I'm doing it all over again. So make sure you read this disclosure, take a look, and I will have a new link now, so this way everybody can have sound. So once again, we can get going on this midday call. So let's see if we have a link here now to tweet out to everybody. Catherine, you have a new link? All right, could you tweet it out, please? There we go. I'll call this take two. Take two with sound. Anyway, it's good to be able to make fun of yourself. Not enough people make fun of themselves. Anyway, so let's get to it. Here we are again. Can you hear me? Anyway, I don't know what happens. There's this little mute button here, and for some reason somebody played a little April Fool's Day trick on me in December, but it doesn't really matter. So anyway, here we are. It's Thursday. It's been a long week. There's been a lot going on. It's a lot of people, a lot of fine lines here, fine line in losing a little bit of money, losing a lot of money, making a little bit of money, making a lot of money. We've talked about active sequences. We've talked about bottom tails. We've talked about gap fills. We've talked about the 8-day and 21-day moving average, all the things that I use as tools to help me manage my approach and my risk tolerance. So if you go right here to the chart of the S&P cash, we talked about how this gap unfilled here led to a very nice active sequence above this little blue line, which was the 8-day moving average. So what did happen earlier this week? So besides holding positions and having a very profitable October, November, finally, last week during the holiday, you had a little bit of a bar closed below a prior low, which put me on alert to be careful. And then on this day, what did we do? We broke 31.31, which was this low. We broke the 8-day with some force. So it got some guys out of their positions. So if you got out of your positions from 31.39 to 31.30, all of a sudden 60 handles later, or somewhere in there, not perfectly, no one's gonna be perfect, you were able to buy in the belly of the beast, they call it, and that's what it felt like on that Monday, right? Or was it, no, sorry, was it Tuesday? Whatever day it was. What was that? That was Tuesday, okay, at 3,070. So granted, you're not going to buy the 3,070, but maybe you bought, in the afternoon versus that low, versus the morning low, after we had that reactionary pivot put in place, which was our market discovery in order to have risk, define our risk. What was our risk? After breaking 31.39 and 31.31, that was our defined risk as of midday on Monday. So anyway, just like we like when we close on our lows to open lower, here we closed on our highs. So if you happen to have bought that day and kept some for an overnight, which some of us do, I've been trading for 22 years, I carry positions, I have overnights, I have a swing account, I have an option account, I have a box account, I have all these accounts. Some of you guys have been trading for a year, maybe you only trade intraday. So you better know your day trading tactics, and you better know your levels, because you don't have as much room as those that give things multiple days to work out and trend. So anyway, here you had your follow through. If you remember yesterday, I put that little chart in with the circle. That was to get the gap filled, to negate the power of the bears. Here, the bears didn't have the power to negate the power of the bulls by keeping that open. Here, this is already full or filled, the gap. And now we're hanging in here. We have an inside candle to yesterday, so a little bit of digestion. Some things stalling, but again, entries and exits matter. This morning, I tweeted to you guys, I said, hey, just a thought. Red Dog has tons of thoughts, but I tweet some just to give you guys a thought, because a lot of people felt like they were missing something early in the morning when the futures were up 10, 12 handles. Everyone's like, oh my God, I'm not long enough. I better get in there. I'm like, well, if you didn't buy on Monday into the belly of the beast, and you didn't buy yesterday, be very careful having your first buy in any of these things, okay, in the first 5, 15, 30 minutes of the day, because you're up 10, 12 handles into resistance. This was more resistance, or this could have been resistance versus not. So anyway, it wound up by the time I sat down after the morning call video, which I do for Red Laurel Access. Oh, what's Red Laurel Access? That's funny you ask. This is Red Laurel Access right here. T3live.com/RAA. This is Red Laurel Access. I do a morning video just like this every single morning before the market starts trading to give you guys my potential plan. Besides 14 to 20 charts within the active plan, besides a full note that goes out to billion-dollar funds on the street, as well as guys that manage $50,000 out of their basement. Anyway, that's that. Let's go back to the charts. Anyway, so here we are. So now you have an inside candle. I'm glad you didn't chase the open. If you go to the 1 day, you'll see what happened on the open. Things sold down. So I think people probably did better. Obviously short. The thesis of my note today was don't chase or don't buy the first 5, 15, 30 minutes. Maybe you can make money going from green to red, especially on weak names. So anyway, this was today. So it was very smart not to be a buyer in the open. And then finally we came, this by the way is the channel. This is your 2-day move. So here is your overall 2-day channel. So this was your gap up. Here is your resistance, went sideways. This morning gapped up. We said don't buy the first 5, 15 minutes. And then we came in and what did we do? We held this. This is actually where the gap started here, or the gap filled. So now you have a 2-day range with defined levels again. Now you have this 31.19. If we get above and stay above, maybe we work our way back to the highs of last week. If we get and stay below this, maybe we do some downside probing to fill this gap down to, whatever this is. This was over here. But overall, better to have not bought the open and played versus support, because as we pull down here, all of a sudden I'm tweeting, oh, SPY's low of the day yesterday is whatever it was, 310.30. S&P lows of the boom. So at least you knew, okay, now I didn't buy up here, let me buy versus the lows. And now we're smack in the middle. Like you can almost even draw this wedge as we're real time. Right now it's at 12:05, and you have like a real time wedge. Oh my goodness, look at a real time wedge. What's a real time wedge? It's a pattern of indecision. What's a pattern of indecision? Well, you have this big channel with the resistance support, and people don't know which way it's going to go. So you wait. Okay, you get above here, maybe you can go back to the highs. You get below here, maybe you can go back to those, or it sits here through lunch. And that's when you should be at the gym, because that's where I'm going in about 25 minutes. I go to the gym every single day because I'm up at 4:45 in the morning. By 12:30, my mind is jelly or jello or pudding or apple pie, whatever you want to call it. And I need to refresh. So this way I put my stops in on my positions, and I go to the gym, and I come back at 2:30, fresh as a daisy. No, it's fresh as daisy. No, yeah. All right, fresh as, I don't know, a piece of bread. Anything. Fresh. Thinking clearly, whatever you want to, whatever analogy or metaphor you want to make. So anyway, here you are, very tight. And there are some things that are stronger than others. So look at this midday wedge right here. I bet you Apple's in the upper end of its, because it's been acting well. Let's take a look. Apple, oh, look at that, closer to the highs. So what does that mean? Apple's showing relative strength. Apple never even came down to fill its gap. That's why it was stronger this morning. So the SPYs are in the middle of this channel. Okay, and Apple's up here, so that means Apple's still showing relative strength. What's showing relative weakness? Well, Amazon's showing relative weakness. 2 days ago I was in here and I was like, I bought Amazon, I don't know if I love it. 1753, that was Monday actually, closed strong. Then yesterday I tweeted to everyone, not just Red All Access, not just to those who are members here, to everybody. It was midday, so let's go back. And then I said, I'm out of it. What do I mean by out of it? It means I sold it. I wasn't sitting around for a move back to 1800, 1880, whatever it was, because it was relatively weaker. So I sold it at 1780, 1777. Then it didn't hold a prior high, which meant you sell it. Remember the sell rules? Stock gets above a prior day's high. If it can't hold it, you sell it. Stock goes red. You sell it. Stock goes below a prior day's low. It changes. So anyway, this is Apple. Apple looks pretty darn good. So anyway, so look, I bet you Amazon is in the lower end because that's been weaker. Where's Amazon? Hold on. Oh, it's in the lower end. So Apple's stronger, Amazon's weaker. And look what Amazon did in the last few days. Okay, first of all, so wow, this is very weak. Here is when you had the descending channel. Remember, I bought it on the Friday before Thanksgiving week because historically I had a strong week, and I bought it here. I sold it there, made, I don't know, 40, 50 points. I didn't catch the last day. You never have to catch the entire move to make money. Then the reversal happened, came in. This was Monday when I was buying it, and then all of a sudden into resistance, it failed. Okay, put a topping tail. This did actually a red dog reversal sell. What's a red dog reversal sell? It got above the prior pivot here, couldn't hold it, so that was your sell, and you had a lot of time. Then it went red while the market was strong. It's relatively weaker. You get out of the way, and then today it opened up, traded below yesterday's low, and now it's almost below this. This is weak. I don't know if you could press it. if that's what you do. I don't like to press shorts. I'm better at being long, but I'm definitely away from it. And at some point, if this, uh, sideways channel, which is what this is, that's showing relative weakness, wants to break down, it's what do you have here? 1722 is your next, and then 16, and then this is big time support. And there are guys shorting the market saying, hey, look at this. Amazon is the market leader. It's relatively weak. Short everything. No, Amazon was in this range the entire month of September, October, away from the highs, while the S&P went to highs, and so did tech. So they kind of put Amazon in its own little corner, in this little brown box. While Apple made highs, Microsoft made highs, Facebook acted decent, Google went back to highs. So Amazon was on its own. Same way Netflix kind of got put in its own box 2 quarters before then, because it also was in the penalty box, kind of broken. So anyway, very weak. I'm not short it, but I'm not long it. We dissected a little move here, dissected a move there. Some guys are playing it short. Anyway, every day, this was the chart that I posted this morning. Amazon was a nice 2-day trade, but you had to be fast. I bought 1753, sold here, which is all facts, time stamped. There's not much to do here. Some might try and look for a red to green trade, right? It was up 8 points today. So a green to red trade, green to red, meaning it's up to go red because yesterday was weaker. I said, probably not me. Yesterday's low was 1760. So look for a green to red. That means getting short, and look at the prior day's low, because if it breaks a prior day's low, that's another spot to get out or add to shorts, and that's what people did here. So I was the offensive coordinator for those who wanted to trade Amazon. For me, I just wasn't into it today, because again, it wasn't stronger. I wasn't just overly focusing there. So anyway, Facebook. I don't know. Facebook looks better than Amazon, obviously, but still wishy-washy. I drew this morning, so this was resistance. All right, pretty good spot, 201.21. Resistance, is 201 area. So good spot to sell. You always want to sell into resistance the first time it gets there. And then it didn't hold 200. And now, I don't know. It had dueling upgrades and downgrades today. So at this point, maybe it holds here and acts better, but I don't know. I'm not in it. I was in it on this wake-up day. On this day, this was my favorite setup here for it to take out this ascending trend line. Got to 200, failed, got above it, and then this little topping tail, and then this day kind of got me like, all right. And I haven't really traded it since. And now it's going to kind of have to prove that it could hold here. Okay, what is this? If it could prove it could hold here, maybe it's still in the game to be better than the other names, whatever that means. Netflix, a lot of people didn't like The Irishman. It was the first one to go red yesterday, so today I'm like, I'm not touching it. Probably can go red again today. And anyway, what did Netflix do? Netflix is also breaking, this area. Okay, this is when it broke the moving averages, so it went from relevant and broke. What did it break? The 8-day. So if it broke the 8-day, what do you do if you're involved on an active sequence, which was pretty good for here? This is your way out. And now, I don't know. It's, this is 298. It's, I guess, kind of coming into here, but it's just nothing special. I like to be in stocks that are acting special. I like to have them in a portfolio approach when you could buy pull-ins fast, when they hold the 8-day, when they build bold flags, and you can buy high and sell higher. Right now, I'm not so sure. We did a lot of that the last 2 months. Not as much now. Now I'm just trying to trade, just to, tack on money because it's been a really good quarter. But for now, this is blah. What Roku do today? Roku got into the gap, but got a little back and forth. This was your pivot where it got above this and then couldn't hold this, and still okay, still could fill this. I actually got caught in this mess. I was in a little bit after thinking this bull flag would break out, and didn't really honor that little reversal or red dog reversal sell. So I held it a little bit and it hurt. And then it got upgraded, and then this was a good day for most traders that were technical because it got above 146.68. Now, it could still go, but it's still a little meh. So this is the language. Every time I list a chart, I put language, which is my if-then thoughts. Changes. So now this would change to this. This gap is now a little bit higher. So why is it a little higher? Because it filled it a little bit. So now this 151.97 turns into 153.35. And it's just doesn't look so great, or there's nothing, so it's not such a good setup. It was a great setup here to get in the gap, and now the gap is getting smaller and it means a little bit less. But overall, the bulls aren't giving up on it. Tesla's a little wishy-washy, hanging in here. I didn't even trade it today. This 327 kind of needs to hold, otherwise it's in trouble. I'm not trouble, but it could go down to the 50-day if it wanted to, I guess. I'm still in the options. I haven't really traded it. This is the 50-day. So hopefully this holds here, and then at some point trades above this, and would be better for my March 380 calls that I'm still in. I had a call spread, stock got hit, I bought back the calls that I sold, took in some money, but I kept the calls, and I'm in straight calls, and I still have a bullish thesis for March, but it's only, December. We have a lot of time between now and then. This is your prior pivot here. It showed a little relative strength, a little bit earlier this week, but then just had no power. So we'll make sure that this holds. Otherwise, it could be, a little bit of trouble. It's below the moving averages. Here, I was pretty much long the entire time. Why? Because it was above the 8-day moving average. I mean, the trend was strong. Here, it got extended from it. Then it pulled into it, and I actually posted it on this day or that week. And this 380 is still, decent or very big resistance, and we'll see how it goes. Just sometimes you trade it a lot, sometimes you don't trade it a lot. What's Coop doing? Some guys are looking at that. Coop looks pretty good, to be honest. I'm always honest. But here it is. Looks like if you want to be long Versa level, be long Versa 145, and if it breaks above this, the stock could make new all-time highs, I would think, or new move highs. That's what I wrote this morning. Looks pretty good right in here. Actually, it looks like it could be in it now for a better trade. Now, as I said, now, service now. Not as great. It's got to hold this 269.50, to maybe be special enough to, give you some momentum moving forward. What else were other guys playing? Oh, what's BIIB doing? Wow, crazy name. Holy cow, came in and now look at it, right back in here. They tried to sell it down, it didn't sell down. Now you better be careful. 307, 318 is those are your two resistance pivots. As I drew this morning, held this 270 by like a hair. And now this is your descending trend line here. Probably not enough to get above it, but they definitely saved it. Some guys were trading the CLVS. Remember, we were long it from 550, and I sold it over 11, and then everyone was making fun of me. Oh, Red Dog, you left money on the table, went to $15, $16. I'm like, okay, but I made 100%. And then a lot of guys who, overstayed their welcome, this is what happened to them. All right, I'll do this every single day. I missed this move, I bought this move, I added on this move, then held it as a nice swing. I think we added even on this day, and I sold it into this. Okay, sold it into this move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Day 5, I'm usually out. I'm usually out on day 3. My day count rule is usually, you buy day 1, you add day 2, you sell day 3, and if you're lucky enough, you're in day 4 and 5, and then you start crying about day 6 and day 7. But you don't need to cry about it because it happens. You don't have to get everything. You don't have to squeeze the friggin' juice out of every trade because that juice gets slippery. And if you stayed, look at it now. Oh wow, how low did it get today? Went as low as 892. I had some bids in at 860 and 823. But is what it is, guys. Here was your doji, or not even your doji. So if you were trailing it and you were fast, this is your stop when it got below here. And then what happened? A very feeble bounce back, and then what did it do again? Broke below this. So maybe tomorrow you get a red dog reversal. It trades below today's low, comes back up. If you sold into strength, you could buy a dip. Entries and exits matter. Same thing with LK. I was long LK, and then I got stopped out yesterday or 2 days ago whenever it opened up and couldn't hold the level. And now what's LK doing? Nothing great. So opened above here. Okay, so that was a sell when it couldn't hold, and then once it couldn't hold them halfway of this move and engulfed it, I'd say, okay, it's very weak, and now it looks as if, it could still go lower, maybe to here. Where is it now? 28.30, 28.45. Okay, well, here's your 8-day. Okay, and this is your little trend line, and this was your red dog reversal sell. Push through, came back below, you sell it, goes red, you sell more. Sell rules. And then, I do have the little cannabis wellness names on, but they're not trades. They're not day trades. I'm actually not breaking my rules, but I'm doing a different type of trade where I'm trying to buy weakness, in the next week or two, or maybe three, hopefully not three, where I develop nice size positions in these names that have been battered and bruised. So at some point, tax loss selling is done. The hedge fund guys or even the buy side guys who put them on their books and got crushed don't even want people to see them. They just sell it indiscriminately, and then their trash becomes our treasure. Not saying we ever looked at trash bins, but sometimes somebody throws something out and it looks good, and you're like, I like that. Actually, it hasn't happened since college when they throw. Anyway, not that happened in college either, but I remember one time somebody threw out like a big dartboard, in college, and we picked it up and we put it in our basement. But anyway, we only do that with stocks now. Anyway, so what's going on there? So if you look, one of my names that I'm picked up on is this Crone. Looks fair. Okay. Bought it here actually for a quick trade, and now I'm just accumulating it in here. CGC. Hanging in here. Hopefully it holds a 1760. This really isn't like my accumulate trade, but I'm in some. If it breaks above this, maybe it helps the group. This ACB is really my accumulate trade. I said Elm a few times. Bought here, sold some, and now I'm accumulating it in here. But it could make new lows. It's only what, 12.5, so there's still time for these guys to sell it. So I don't want to get too big, but if it breaks above this, maybe that'll be a higher low. And then this little guy that no one really knows, this SNDL, I think that you could buy it from. My average is like 2.25. It's not 4. It's not 5. It's not 6. It's 2.25, and I'm willing to buy it all the way down to $1.50 if I have to, for what I think will be a move towards $4 or so, in the last week of December or maybe even January. Where is it now? Is it breaking the spot? The low is 205. Yeah, so it could break it and get some kind of capitulation. Sell, and then I'm hoping for like some kind of 3-day move like this, where it went from below 2 to almost 4. I think it goes from $1.50 back to $3.50. So again, we'll see. But these are dangerous trades. These are accumulates. These are ideas. The market did confirm it. I've played January effects before. I played the oil names last year. They were fantastic. I remember Diebold or SLCA, whatever it was. These things tripled. Even friggin' Snap, that everyone just didn't want to have on their books last year, more than quadrupled. So I'm hoping, this group will be one of them that I could buy and accumulate, and then come January be pleasantly surprised. But again, it's not for everyone. It's not a trade. It's not like Apple. Apple's a trade, or Apple's I follow rules with this. So for now, for Apple, you had your 3-day bounce. It looks okay. Let's see, get this out of the way. I guess you could now take this and say, hey, as long as it holds here, I'm going to stay in it. This is your resistance. Broke this spot, so if you sold your Apple, I was in Apple on this day. In here, I was in it. I was actually in it here, and I held it on that day. That was the rebalance day. That was not easy. Sold some, stayed in, broke above, couldn't hold it, sold some, broke below this, got flat. So if you got flat on this day, between 265 and 262, it hurt, but you could have been a buyer into 256. And now you had your bounce back, and I guess, I don't know, see if it goes sideways a little bit. And at some point, maybe this puts in like some kind of wedge here. So if we can go sideways a little bit and build a little bit of inside action here to adjust or to absorb this move, then maybe it's a better buy above here. But we'll see. So at this point, it's 12:22 on Thursday the 5th. You had your shaking of the tree, where a lot of things bent but didn't break. Some things bent more than others, like Amazon, and kind of was broken. It's been broken for a while. Overall, the market did have its snapback, and now it's kind of trying to figure out what's next here. We're smack in the middle of the range from 3154 to 3070. We're right now at like 3125. So there's going to be a little bit of a tug of war here. So when things are in a tug of war, you try and be a little flexible and a little lighter. That's what I'm trying to do now. And then you make some money while the market tries to figure out, can it catch its breath and start another trend to 3,200, or is it going to be choppier and break today's low tomorrow and turn into more volatile trading where you just have to pick and choose your spots and be more tactical? So those are all my thoughts, and those were the charts. And hopefully, you learn something here, and maybe you can make some money from the levels that we went over. And if you want more, okay, I do this every single day, which I do love. Okay, t3live.com/RAA. That is my service. I do a morning call every morning when people have no idea what's going to happen. I come up with the levels, come up with my ideas. I also post 14 to 20 charts, and I also write a whole note. So by now it's 12:24. It's time for me to go to the gym. This will probably be my last video for everybody. Rather relaxed, so I do want it to close. And have a great rest of the day. And tomorrow's Friday, and then you have the weekend. Hope all is well. See you soon. Bye-bye.